Check-In, presented by RITMO, CULTURA y Gasolina. It's your boy DC. Tengo una invitada especial. Ahorita se encuentra en Monterrey. Kordelya, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Bien, bien, todo aquí tranquilo. Aquí pasándola super chill aquí en Los Ángeles, mientras que tú estás en Monterrey pasándola super chill también, ¿no?
Qué random que normalmente yo estoy en Los Ángeles y ahora... Pero bueno, lo bueno es que todo es por internet ahorita y...
Sí, todo es por internet, todos nos tenemos que adaptar en lo que
Sí.
es quote unquote the new
The new
thing,
normal.
the new normal. Eso, the
Yeah.
new normal. So hold on, let me get my friend Lauren in here. She just tapped in. 1 second. Boom. Wait, that's not Lauren.
No, hi, sorry. I'm using her thing. Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm her assistant.
You're good, you're good. So like I was saying, this is the new normal, we got internet, people calling us, people jumping in, you know. But like I told you before I started the interview that you came to my radar about like 2019, like February-ish, February, March, I remember. And
Right.
it was during the time that you released Stetical. And I heard the song and I was like, yo, this shit hard. I was like, what the heck? This vibe is dope. I'm like, it's algo diferente, it's algo fresh. And I didn't know you from Monterrey. So one thing and that's real. I don't know we were from Monterrey. And one thing that stood out was that for me is that in Monterrey, I feel like there's a lot of this influence of R&B trap infused coming from Monterrey, from like Akiai to you to a bunch of other artists by Smenta. So I feel like whatever's in that water over there is dope.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the tequila or the mezcal.
Es algo.
Yeah, we love our R&B, like trappy shit. It's just fun to make too, and I feel like that's what's important.
Yeah.
To make it.
Definitivamente, y que también pienso que en Monterrey, siendo del norte, tan cerca de lo que es Estados Unidos, la influencia está más diferente que when you go to like Sinaloa or Jalisco, where it's like they might not feel the same vibe. I don't know. You could correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you're teaching me new stuff. I didn't know. Honestly, like, I feel like maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like the mix of being so close to the U.S. And I mean, I did grow up a lot in Mexico, but I was in Houston for a while. I was born in Houston. I think that might have had something to do with that, maybe.
Yeah.
But
H-Town, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, H-Town. Yeah, I'm gonna be back there soon for a little bit.
Okay, cool. But with these interviews, I like to tap in. I like to check in with artists and actually like talk about los comienzos. So like, you are a new artist. I mean, you've been doing your thing, but you are a new artist, and I want to know. So take me on this time machine. When is it that like Kordelya was like, I'm about to take this music thing for real, and I'm gonna go full force?
All right. Yeah, I think honestly, like the full force thing has been for a few years now, but I was honestly like playing around with different genres before. Like I had a band that was like more indie rock for a little bit there. Y no sé, tocando piano. Siento que, yeah, I feel like that's what it is. When I started writing music and producing, I feel like that's when it really clicked there. But yeah, since I was a kid, I've been singing all my life. So I think that was an important factor that started it all.
Interesting. So you produce too? You produce all your stuff too, or you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I started on Ableton. No, I started on Logic.
Okay.
And now I'm doing like both Ableton and Logic, and now I'm like playing around with like new synths, analog shit too. Yeah, I'm just a very curious person. So I feel like that contributes to like the production and like little new elements that I introduce, and every song kind of has its own identity.
Yeah.
In terms of production too, so I really focus on that too.
Definitely. Okay, so you pretty much hands-on your artistry then, from songwriting to producing and everything. That's pretty cool because that's an advantage I think a lot of artists don't have. When you don't, you might just come in and you're just artist, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think when you have that advantage of like, yo, I'll make my own stuff, then you have more, can I say, freedom or liberty to like you decide what your sound's gonna be for the next song.
I think so. I think you get to develop your identity a little bit more. Whereas if someone's like producing you 100%, well, it's gonna be their fingerprint in there. So I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it was half and half, like trying to figure out like what this song would sound like, and also trying to figure out how I produce, you know. Right. So it's been nice to discover that. Cool.
¿Quiénes son unas de tus influencias? Who are some of your influences that, you know, helped you or influenced you in your uprising?
I think it's a lot of like mix of what my parents used to listen to. They used to listen to a lot of like Maná and Shakira and like Queen and Beatles, all that classic stuff. So I honestly, like, I draw a lot of like what they were doing in the studio and like what I saw. Like I just saw like Elton John movie and how he was like experimenting with his writer, and I just like all these like curious people I really draw from. Who else is very curious? Like Little Dragon is a band that's really experimental. People like that, I'm really like, you know, I look up to them a lot. But also like guys like Tiny, who are just like killing it in the reggaeton vibe. I think it's really cool because he's very just hands-on, but he's also very effortless, and I also like that too. So it's helped me a lot.
That's dope. That's dope. You know, I've never thought about that. Tiny he is very effortless,
right?
I never thought about it. Like now that you say it, I'm like, yeah, he is.
Okay. It just sounds like it floats. Like the music is like, oh right, of course.
Yeah.
That's, you know, so
like he doesn't force it. Like I feel like he doesn't force it. Okay, that's dope. That's dope. How would you define the sound of Kordelya? Your sound, in your own words. Like, what's the definition of your sound?
Oof. You know, I never think about that stuff. It's honestly like just very curious, I guess. Like curious because I'm trying out like even different genres with every different song. Okay. So I think maybe a very curious, I don't know, mix of Latin sounds. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll leave that up to you. What do you think my sound is?
I think your sound is vibe.
Just vibes.
It's a vibe. And no, I'm serious. Like it's a vibe. It's like
it's a mood. Yeah,
it's a mood. It's a mood, but like a good mood. Like it's like, you know, it just makes you feel like the sound that makes you feel what you're saying. Like your instrumentation, your beats make you feel that stuff. So I could say mood. Or untitled, you know what I'm saying? You know, whatever you want to call it. So
I love that.
So like I said, Terco for me was the introduction to you. Would you say that Terco was your turning point record, la canción que te impulsó más para arriba, que empezó, you know, la ola for you, or no?
I think so. I think you might be right. A lot of things happened from that song, and like my whole team who I work with now came from that track. So that's why I always tell like my friends, artists, or someone that's starting out, just put shit out there. What you're working on right now, because you never know. Like I hear a lot of people that just wait until they have that manager, label, PR lined up, and it's like, no, dude, it's the other way around. I mean, at least from my experience, it's like, yo, just have stuff out there, and people will start to discover you. And I think that has helped a lot. Like that song was just like, I just shot from the hip, and it was very real. And just talking about Terco is something honestly very true to what I've lived with people, with my friends, with relationships, with even people from my family. And it's just, I don't know, it just something just came out that was really honest. And the production was really raw. I just focused a lot on the synth and on the percussions, and I minimalized everything. And yeah, it really, I think, resonated because of that. Because it was just like, you know what? I'm just going to be honest here. Yeah. Do you think that people are terco? Yes. Okay, here we go. And that worked. Yeah. I'm really happy with that.
No, I like I said, it put me onto you, and then you followed it up really nicely too, which what I read here, it's your biggest single to date. Consentido, which, you know, you got to be on Telemundo and everything. So talk to me about, you know, seeing the success of Terco and Consentido in your eyes.
It was a lot of like a very different type of you know, DMs, messages than before, like way more people. more press outlets that honestly, like I've grown up watching, you know, like Telemundo and TV Azteca and all of that. So that's when you start like noticing a difference. And also like my manager who I work with now hit me up and I remember I was playing that weekend. I was playing at the Billboard something Latin in Vegas, and he just drove from LA to Vegas to see me, and all different little things that happened from just that one song. That then later I was a little bit more confident and a little bit more safe with the people that I was working with to be able to explore other songs like Consentido, like Saludos, and all of that came after. I just feel like it just made me want to make more music, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's like, yeah, I have way more to give, and that took me to the album. So it's been really, really cool.
Yeah, let's transition to the album because it did give us, you know, those two songs did give us what this album called Mal Hecha. So let's talk about Mal Hecha, you know. So let's talk about the title. What does the title mean?
It's very much like self-deprecating humor, but more also like a reflection of everybody's imperfections as humans. So every song talks about a different imperfection and why it's there and why it develops and why we should also treasure them, because we can learn a lot from our imperfections. So that's what it was. And it started with terco, like being stubborn can be a bad thing, but being stubborn can be a good thing too when it comes to your dreams and your hustle, and just like, you know, stay terco, man, because it'll happen. And the same came with like Consentido. It's like, it's all about obsession.
Yeah.
Like you can become obsessed with different bad things like substances, but also obsessed with making it work with that relationship, or making it, you know, getting that job you've always wanted, you know.
Right.
Just, but yeah, and yeah, little by little, like una tras otra, was like, oh, and now I'm talking about this imperfection. Like Saludos is about more like being too shy to say your truth or whatever. So it's nice to have explored all of that. And the song Mal Hecha is a lot about not accepting yourself and like that insecurity of like, you know, I want to be who I am, whatever that is, even if I'm not accepted by everyone that's around me. So
I'm digging the titles too. I feel like it's el slang mexicano, you know, con güey, metiche, consentido, terco, pedazo de you know what I'm saying, feo, you know, all that. So I feel like it's really like authentic to your roots.
Oh, for sure.
Like, so I love it. I love it. You mentioned Saludos, which featured Jesse Baez. Super dope artist too. Like he's one of those that I should have mentioned earlier. Like he has a sound that's amazing. And ¿de dónde es otra vez? Let me remember. Es de Guatemala. De Guatemala,
Guatemala, but he has a lot of friends from Monterrey, and he even talks a little bit Mexican. You know, he has like neta way, blah, 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 and like stuff like that. So it's cool that little bit of like the Mexican rubbed off on him. And yeah, I think one of his parents is Mexican, if I'm not mistaken. But
okay.
Yeah.
So how did that collaboration come about?
So it was a lot about our teams knowing each other, and one guy that we're working with that we co-produced something together with, his name is Sweet Sound, and he's managed by the same guy that manages him, called Milkman.
Oh, Milkman, yeah.
Well, yeah, he does a lot of shit. Like he does like creative directing for like J Balvin. And, like, other huge people like that. So they they heard the song, the original Saludos, from my manager, and it just like, he was digging the vibe, and he just wrote a verse, and it was all like separate because we couldn't get together at that time. It was even worse, like nobody was getting into the studio together. So he's like, I'm just gonna make my verse and see what you think, and took it from there. So everything was remotely. Milk made the artwork. So it was a very strange experience in that sense, but at the same time, I think it made for a really cool song, because the song itself talks about distance and like saying salud from afar and not be able to be with that person. So I think it really helped in the creative side, because he came up with yeah, his verse is fucking killer. So it's cool.
We're talking about that right now. So let me ask you this: this whole pandemic, this whole like quarantine, stay home, etc. How has it affected you, like in your artistry, in personally? Like, have you learned? Has it stopped you a little bit? Like, how have you adapted to this new norm of distance?
So yeah, the new normal's weird, man. Honestly, like especially when it comes to collaborating.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's been tough because sometimes I have it over the phone or like on Zoom, but there's something magic about being in the same room together that it really, I don't know, it just, you come up with better stuff. I'm so honestly, I really like the collabs that have been happening while this is happening, but I feel like, I don't know, it just feels weird to not know them in person. Like I still don't know Jesse in person. You know, it's weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's I love that, like I like the live of when the song came out is like, so what's your una anécdota con Jesse? And I'm like, dude, the song is mi anécdota por ahora, because we've been like, we've been saying like, we should go grab like rellenitos later on in LA because he's also in LA, and it still hasn't happened. And that's honestly, like, it's tough on the creative side of things because obviously to write stuff you need to live stuff. And if you're in your house all day, it's like, what are you going to talk about? Like the color of your couch? Like, so it's been tough in that sense. But in the other, it's been good because I've been really productive, because what else are you going to do? You know,
right, exactly.
You're going to make music, you're going to have interviews, you're going to write stuff. So in that sense, it's kind of like a mixed bag of like, depends on the day.
Definitely.
Sometimes I'm like, dude, I just need to get out and go on a hike and just be in nature. And it helps. Yeah. So take it day to day, man.
No, definitely. I feel like I like to ask that question now because like we all have different experiences of what's going on, or like, you know, how we feel. Like I had an interview with this girl from the UK who does Latin music, but she used to travel to Florida all the time, but now she can't travel. So it's like she's doing sessions, like the whole session is via Zoom, like with the songwriters, with the producers, and it's like, and then she has to like hit record on her side, you know, and then they tell her like, oh, do the vocals again. So it's like it's adapting, and I like to see like where the artist is at mentally, you know, and see how they're doing. Obviously,
honestly, so, like it's a lot about working on like splice or stuff like that, where like we're both on the session inside Ableton. Otherwise it's weird, because if I were to play you a song from right now into that mic, it sounds like crap. Like you can't really distinguish what's happening. Like phones are made for like the mid-range frequency where we talk, and that's it. The rest is like, it's gonna be muffled. You can't really. So it's been kind of weird. There's a few other apps that you can like listen to exactly what we're hearing in this session, but
it's nothing as being together.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. All right, so walk me through this though. Let's say you're in the studio. What's your vibe in the studio? You know, how do you start music? So do you need the beat first? Do you start with the songwriting? Do you start with the melodies? Or what's your vibe in the studio?
Honestly, it just depends. I mean, if I'm doing a collaboration, it depends on, like, I usually try to mold myself to them, because honestly, I don't care. I can start with the piano, I can start with the guitar, I can start with the beat. But I feel like what I've noticed is that a lot of people just do it one way. Like, I have a few artists that I've worked with that, okay, we need to write with a keyboard or a piano, like the song, right? Yeah. There's others where it's like, dude, let's make a beat, you know? So it just depends on them. When it comes to me, it's more like I like to find and like sound design sounds. And from like a synth, it gives me a feeling of like, okay, this song, I'm going to talk about this, because that's what it feels like, you know? Or vice versa. I mean, it just depends on the song. It depends on the song.
Depends on the song.
I'm sorry.
No, it depends on the song. It depends on what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if you want to go in and like start writing, I feel that. That. Do you think that being so musically inclined and being like, you know, hands-on with the production, do you do the engineering too, like, or no?
Depends. Like I can record myself, like my vocals and stuff like that.
Okay.
I've recorded I've recorded drums before. I've recorded guitars from my friends, but usually, I mean, they have their own setup, like pedals and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
But so technically, yeah, but I wouldn't call myself an engineer. Like, you know, like hire me as an engineer. No, luego para mí, for my own project, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so going back to my question, I just wanted to find out if he was an engineer or not. But obviously, you know your frequencies and etc. Do you think that not do you think, but are you hard on yourself in the studio sometimes? Like, so you're like, nah, this shit don't sound right. Let me do it all over again. Or like, are you hard on yourself when you create music?
I try not to be, because that's counterproductive. I feel like we all have to write those shitty songs and shitty beats in order to get to the good ones. Because you learn a lot from every beat. Like I'm telling you, like there's a few beats that I haven't used, but there's that one sound that I'm like, haha, come to me, and I'll use it for something else, you know? So I feel like you can learn a lot from every single track or beat that you don't end up using sometimes. So I try not to be hard on myself because of that. Honestly, like, why should you be? You're supposed to be having fun with it. So yeah,
Definitely.
It's okay. Not everything has to be perfect on the first time.
Definitely. Right. So going back to Terco, so like that was in 2019. I can say that was your launch single, because that was the one that put me on you. So for me, after that, like you've been featured on playlists, like covers, everything, and it's a short period of time. So was that overwhelming for you? Did you see it like, oh shit, like damn, we're here now, like people are noticing? Like, how was that feeling?
Honestly, like maybe overwhelming, but in the best way, because I got to, like, it just, making music is already so much fun. And now you're adding all these crazy opportunities to meet people and go to events and showcase your music in different, you know, festivals, and just having more communication with the people that listen to you. Honestly, that's been great. I'm having a blast. Like it's never been like, you know, like maybe it's kind of like nerve-wracking sometimes to be like, okay, now here comes the next song.
Yeah.
Hope you like it too, you know, but that's it, honestly. Like, it's been great.
Definitely. Talking about the next song, what's next for you? Like, you got the album out. You got this, I want to say, introduction to Kordelya. All right. So what's next for you? Like, we got more music coming. I know we got more music coming, but when?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, well, there was so many plans for like music videos and shit, but obviously that's out the window. But yeah, we do have more music coming, more music that's going to be bilingual, a few features. We have a new Consentido remix by Happy Colors that's coming out. It's fucking fire. Yeah, it turned out great. So that's coming out soon, and the album deluxe that will include 2 new songs.
Nice.
So that's exciting. And then I'm just working on a bunch of new songs for the next year.
And that's this year? The deluxe is coming out this year? Okay.
Yeah, deluxe is coming next month, actually.
Next month? There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, get ready. Yeah.
There we go. You talked about doing bilingual music. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because I feel, especially since tú Mexicana Americana, like you embracing that. And I feel that now is our time, you know. I'm a Spanglish speaker, you know, I'm from LA, so I'm Mexicano de Jalisco, and I'm like, you know, that like that's our representation. Like you are our representation, you and like the likes of Becky G and like other artists that speak English and Spanish, you know, so we can relate to somebody. So I'm excited to see what you got coming up, what you got cooking with that, you know.
Yeah, me too, honestly. Like it's I have a few that are more English leaning with Spanish stuff, and others that's vice versa. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I've always wanted to make like a little rhyme with different languages. So I think that'll be fun, because it's not common, you know, to rhyme in English and then it also rhymes, but it's in Spanish. So I finally like, oh, yes. So
okay. Cool. I can't wait to hear that. And I also say this too, because I feel like when a Mexican American does music, you know, I think typically they get put into a box. And then I say that as in like, when you speak of somebody that's Mexican, they're like, oh, you're only supposed to, not supposed to, but regional mexicano, banda cumbias, etc. Like that's what you're quote unquote supposed to be. And I feel like you and Aquí hay, and son la nueva ola mexicana. That is like we're bringing the extra sauce that we've always been doing, and it's like we're influenced. Like this is our sound too, and we're still Mexican. So I feel like you are, that. But on that comment of like being put into a box, do you see that? Do you see that? Like like do people tell you that, or is there comments that you've seen before?
Not really. I mean, what I do hear, what I do hear is that when they see like Mexican American, they expect like cumbia or something like that, or mariachi even, which is dope. And it's been nice to be pleasantly surprised with messages of like, you know what, yo soy de bota y vaquero y todo, y como quiera me gustó terco. And that's really cool, be like, okay, nice. It's nice to, even if they recognize that it's a trap song or whatever, they'll appreciate it and enjoy it. And I think that's huge for me. It's really
definitely
nice, so.
Like I said, like la nueva ola mexicana, and I put you in that category too. You're one of the most artists Mexicanos that are like stirring the pot and making new sounds, and like we're still Mexican, bro, but we do our own style, we do our own stuff.
Coño, sí, qué risa que dices el aquí hay, porque we were gonna have a session while I was out here, but it didn't work. So maybe next time. I know it's been like so many things have been like falling through because of the COVID thing, but next year.
No, for real. Like I said, like
que dices aquí hay es de que maybe.
Nah, I got to interview them. I love their sound, like, cause I'm a big R&B fan. I'm a big like that type of like trap infused like R&B like melodic stuff. So when I hear music like that, I'm like, yeah, that's my shit. So I got to talk to them and tap in with them and see what they got going on, which they got amazing things going on. So so that's dope that you were gonna get into a session with them.
I know, yeah. Well, we have the same PR, but it didn't work out this time. Yeah, hopefully next time. Hopefully with, I don't know.
Yeah, my girl Lauren working. I see you.
No, she's been killing it. Honestly, like ever since we started working together, it's like, dude, another level. Honestly, it's been great.
Nah, she's a great person. She's dope. She's dope. So like I said, you're part of the Nueva Ola. You're part of the you're up. You're a new artist, new Latin artist. ¿Qué le quieres aportar al género?
No sé, maybe, I mean, I don't know, like aportar así como que siento que that's like, that would take myself too seriously. But I mean, I'm just trying to, give honesty into the lyrics every time I can. Just be truthful and even a little too much. Sometimes like, Pedazo de, that song was a little like too honest sometimes, but I feel like we need that. I feel like there's a lot of like, let's go out to party kind of songs. But I feel like it's also important to touch up on subjects where, you sometimes turn to music if you're going through something like that. So
definitely.
Maybe that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Some realness.
But we need that. We need that. We need that real. We need that realness because we need music that we could relate to, that somebody could be in a situation and be like, oh, I relate to this situation. I know everything's like party, but sometimes we need that.
Yeah.
We need that song to touch us a little bit. Like, oh shit.
For sure. Yeah, I got a message from someone who's transitioning, and they identified with Mal Hecha and I intended to write about that because I mean I'm not going through that, but in the lyrics it says it switches back and forth from Mal Hecha and mal hecho. Porque sabes que estoy mal hecho, or sabes que estoy mal hecha, kind of like, even if you're not sure of your gender. So I think it's a really cool thing to include there because I have friends that are going through that. And imagine like if I grew up thinking like, what's my identity? Imagine going through that shit. So I think it's important to at least open up to like different, temas.
Exactly. Exacto. I'm happy that you have your artist mind is right there and you have a message in your music. So I'm excited to see what you got next. I'm excited to see you grow. I'm excited to see you grow as an artist and take it to the next level. I want to thank you for the time chatting with me.
No, thank you for having me. Pregunta, ¿cómo dirías eso en español? Because I always I'm having these things and I never know how to say gracias por tenerme. Like what? I never know how to say it in Spanish. Porque si dices gracias por invitarme, es como que pues a veces no pasa con, o sea, así exactamente.
Yo hubiera dicho gracias por darme tu tiempo.
Pues sí, I guess. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Nah, but for real, hey.
Gracias por tenerme.
There you go. I mean, if you really think about it, it sounds really kind of awkward. Gracias por tenerme.
Ya sé, ¿verdad? Como que tenerme. No sé.
Like, te tengo aquí. ¿Dónde te tengo? What do you mean?
No eres mi dueño.
No, for real. Hey, thank you for your time. That's why I say time. Thank you for giving me your time. Gracias por darme tu tiempo. Like I said, excited to see you grow. Excited to hear new music. Excited to see where you take it from here. Don't change. Just make sure you always. Nunca cambies. Keep the message going with your music because people get touched. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Nos vemos a la próxima entonces.
A huevo. This is the check-in. It's your boy DC. The check-in presented by RITMO y Cultura y Gasolina. That's Kordelya. We out.